So I'll just start off by saying that I think I went from being one of the worst people ever with email to being, not perfect, but having a good handle on it. And I think since getting into real estate, I went from being, like a mess with email to realizing that there's just too many consequences to things getting behind her and all this stuff piling up and missing messages from people and things like that. So I really developed some good systems. I read some books. When Nora joined the team, she was very organized. And so we've just kind of been in this together, figuring out how to not have this email thing be a constant burden and a constant like problem all the time. And now we have multiple agents who are on our team. We have employees. We have to have good, tight systems for things. So it's even more important, right, Nora?
Yes, absolutely. And we all know how many emails we get and how many are actually important. Not nearly, probably even a third of the ones we're actually getting, right? Most are promotions, some are reminders, things we might need later, but not now, right? Or like, ooh, a coupon for that store I really want to have handy, but I don't need it now, right? Or somebody else has responded to this. This was an FYI for me. I don't need to keep it in my inbox, right? So how do we sift through all the nonsense and get to the actionable items?
Hmm.
So that's kind of what we're about today. All right. So again, it's the Vaz+Harwood Academy class. You can check out our other upcoming classes at vazharwood.com/academy. So basically what we're going to help you with today is can you find what you need in your inbox besides having to search, right? Look through 2 million in emails. Hopefully you don't have that many, but I've seen some crazy numbers on people's inboxes. And do you filter out the extra? Is your inbox working for you instead of against you? So those are the critical things we're going to cover. And I just want to talk about a few main principles. This is one that Andy definitely believes in. We do on our team as well. The first thing, do it. If it takes less than 2 minutes to respond to an email, you should do it then. Or like save that receipt or, process that thing. That won't take you very long, right? Do it if you can get it done in 2 minutes or less. Delete it or archive it. And we'll talk about archive function here later today. But a lot of it you don't need. If you don't need it now, that's when you archive it. And then delegate it. Is this actually something you need to do or someone else on your team can do? Or something can automatically do for you,
Yes.
like your inbox.
Yeah.
Andy, anything to add on these principles?
Well, just that there's that chart of I don't know, I think we have a slide for it, but just like that chart grid that has the it's important, not important, urgent and not urgent. And I always kind of refer back to that because the things that are not urgent are often the most important, right? But things that seem like they're urgent are often not important. And in email and especially text messages, but emails too have a way of feeling urgent. They pop in and they're like, look at me, do this now. And so email, I know just from I've had way too many days where I feel like I'm just kind of getting through emails and I'm not doing anything important. I'm just trying to keep my head above water for some reason because all this stuff seems like it's urgent and important. Some of it's not urgent and not important at all, and some of it's very little of it is actually urgent, right, Nora? Very little of it is urgent in
Right.
the sense that it couldn't wait a couple of hours or until the end of the day to be responded to.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely. And Pamela put in the chat, eliminate, delegate, automate, her personal efficiency motto. I love it.
yeah, yeah, cool.
All right. So one other thing I want to just touch base on, and this is like a little tip that I have found and experienced with a lot of people. Pamela, Pauline, are you both real estate agents? I want to say yes. Oh, you're not a real estate. That's okay. This applies for real estate or not real estate, actually. But I approach this from the lens of agent versus personal. But you could approach this from the view of my work email versus my personal email, right? So I
Or
see often, or Andy,
or
go
if
ahead.
you're or if you're a contractor, or have a personal email versus work, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. And sometimes with work, you even get assigned to have multiple emails. Yay. So then, it's like, how do I manage it? Which inbox am I looking at? I see a lot of people that have, two tabs with different email inboxes. Yeah, you can definitely do that. However, that can get confusing real fast. And then you're looking at the wrong message and the wrong thing, or you can't find it. You're searching in the wrong inbox. So one basic tip that I like to share with people for this is have a different window versus tab, not a tab, tabs across the window, a different window or even a different browser for your different types of emails, right? So some computers are come with built in with Edge or Bing or Chrome. We all know Chrome is the best. Raise your hand and swear by Chrome. But some people can't do it, or they have to use Outlook or something, right? So I recommend having a different window or browser for your different emails. So it's very clear, hey, I go into Edge for my personal email and I go into Chrome for my work email, or vice versa.
Mhm.
Also, branded versus broker emails, especially from a work perspective. Oh, Pamela, some browsers allow you to set a different theme color for different accounts. Yes. So if that's helpful, work that to your advantage too, right? My work email is green because that's where I make my money, right? And my personal email is blue because that chills me out a little bit. You could totally do that.
Yeah.
Branded versus broker. So this one comes if you have multiple email addresses for one type of work. You could forward all your emails into one inbox. Add forwarding, mark one inbox as read, enable your pop settings, right? You don't have to check 3 different inboxes. You could just check one. I don't recommend doing that for your personal and your work email though. Because then it's just a hot mess of way too much in one place. Anything to add, Anne?
No, not on that. That makes
Okay,
good idea.
awesome. So these are kind of the main things we're going to cover today. I'm looking at this all from a Gmail lens. However, a lot of this, there are similar functions in other email providers. However, I'll also add that if you are using an email provider like a Hotmail or a Yahoo, and it just doesn't have all these functionalities, maybe it's time to look at getting an email provider that does have functionalities like this. And hey, you can use the forwarding trick to forward it all into that email provider you do like using. So we'll cover snooze, remind me later, filter, file it away for when I'm ready to look at it. The CC rule, if it's an FYI, I'll browse it at my own leisure. Archive it, I can search for it if I need it. And of course, everyone knows unsubscribe. We're not going to spend hardly any time on that because you just need to do it when you need to do it. Right? So here, what I'll do is oh, go ahead.
Nope, that's it.
Okay. So what I was gonna do is kind of go through each of these steps, and then I have one of my forwarded accounts set up where I can show you guys how to actually execute some of this stuff. This is being recorded, so you can get screenshots, and we'll also send the deck later so you can have these little tools. So number 1 is snooze it. If you use Gmail or another icon, there's this clock icon. So you can snooze it for later today, tomorrow, or any custom date that you want, right? So a lot of times I have to sign up for continuing education classes, right? When I sign up for the class, it sends me a confirmation that I signed up for the class with the link to access the class and everything. Well, sometimes I sign up for my class like 3 weeks early, right? I don't need that confirmation now, but I need it the day before the class, right? So when those come in, I'll snooze it until right before the class, and then it'll magically come back into my inbox right before I need it with the link to access it and everything. So snooze is lately one of my most favorite features, especially if, I need to follow up on something in a week. I don't need it to sit in my inbox for a week, but if it shows up in a week and I deal with it then, perfect.
Mhm.
Does anybody else here use snooze or some other kind of scheduling function?
I've never used
Yeah,
it myself.
nodding your head.
You're, that's a great tip.
Yes. And most people don't know about it, right? So
Mhm.
that's the number one thing
Well,
I start doing.
but my way of doing is just to delete the email and see if they write me back later if it was important, you know.
Andy, that works sometimes.
Maybe if it's important enough, they'll just, yeah, write me again.
Yeah, or you come back from vacation. I nuked my whole inbox. If it's important, I'm back, right?
That's right.
That's
That's right.
scary. Yeah. All right, students, that's the simplest one. Filter it. This is where you can have a lot of fun and get really detailed and do all sorts of good stuff. So this allows you to
This is my
keep everything,
favorite. This is my favorite part. Yeah.
yes, to keep most everything unless you choose a deleted part as one of your filters. And this allows your inbox to delegate like a pro for you, and you didn't even have to do it. So one of the best ways to do this is you click the three dots, you hit filter messages like this. It'll auto import most of the time the email address, but if there's a keyword or something that you always have that you don't need until later, right? You can filter it. Yeah, this is where automate comes in. Exactly, Pamela. You can choose to do any number of these things, apply labels, forward it, and then apply it to matching conversations. So let's say you went on vacation, you came back to 2,000 emails, right? And then half of them are from Target, right? Because you get a lot of
Mhm.
promotional emails from Target. Well, you could now do this filter of skip the inbox, apply the label target promos, and then apply to matching conversations. Whew, it'll shuttle all 20 of those target promotional emails over into the label and start cleaning out your inbox for you. Andy, what do you love about filters? What are some of your favorites?
Because just like what you were saying, if you sign up on a website and then they start sending you emails for promotions and coupons and things like that, you might want that, but you don't necessarily want to see that all the time in your inbox. So it's nice to have it there. And then if I want to go in and search for whatever, some store, I can just look and find it there. And I also use it for things like business related emails that I know will not be urgent, feedback requests on houses, and newsletters from the National Association of Realtors or whatever. I want that stuff, but I'd rather have it go in a folder or just get filtered, so I don't have to look at it every day. I don't need to read it in the morning. I might want to just go through once a week and look at stuff like that.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, the next one, the CC rule. This is one that makes Andy's life better every single day. You can filter based on if you're in the 2 line, the CC line, or the BCC line, right? But generally, according to those 3 stages, the one I think that you can safely filter out is the CC line. Here's a little thing of the rule that we have set up for Andy. Skips the inbox, applies the label CC, and never send it to spam. So Andy is a team leader here for us. So he gets in the loop on a lot of things, but he doesn't need to look at it all the time, right? He just needs to be able to be aware of what's going on or catch up quick, right? So those emails are going into a CC folder. And so maybe once a day, once a week, I don't know what your system is, how often you look at that, Andy.
I look at it every
Day?
day, but it's also just that conversations that I need to be able to access, but I don't necessarily have to look at it. And I can just take a glance at all my CCs every day and non-urgently and just say, oh, what's in there? And usually I just go through and check, 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 and clear it out. And then if there
Yeah.
is something in there I'm CC'd on that I need to look at, I'll probably see that I need to
Yeah.
respond in. And
Yes,
that's
and
it.
especially those ones are ones where somebody else responded, but then they're like, hey, Andy, can you weigh in? Right. And then Andy, so I wouldn't ignore it. If you set up this rule, I would not ignore your CC folder because occasionally there will be some that you do need to provide input on.
Yeah, but it's very nice for me to have it separated out between what's going directly to my inbox versus is just a conversation that I'm on that I don't
Mhm.
necessarily have to respond to, which is a lot of the
Yes.
emails that I get. Mhm.
Mhm. Or if you're on some kind of distribution list, for example, I run a 4-person admin team. And so we have an email group, right? So instead of having to email 4 people, I email one thing that says admin, and it emails to all, well, 5 of us, including me. And so a lot of the times you could filter out those emails, right? So if they're coming to a group, right, and you're like, this is for everybody to be aware, you could do a similar thing with that type of email group subscription.
Mhm.
Archive. This is one actually that Andy taught me that I did not use very often before. I was a strict delete it or put it in a folder. But archive especially comes in handy when you're using filters. And also it allows you to really search for things that are in your inbox, but not actually in your main primary inbox.
Mhm.
So some of you are familiar with this function, but basically it means keep it, don't delete it, but mark it as read and get it out of here, right? And Andy, when you nuke your inbox, you don't actually nuke it, you archive it, right?
I don't delete anything. I really
Yeah.
never hit the trash can ever. I just archive it, and it functionally it does the same thing. It gets it out of your inbox, um, but then it's still there. It never really deletes it unless maybe you, depending on what your Google settings are, Gmail settings, maybe at a certain point Gmail deletes things. I don't even know, but I think things are in there for years.
Yeah.
So that's kind of
You will
nice.
start to see some space issues though if you archive everything. So I mean, if it's truly something that can be deleted, I would go ahead and delete it, but
Sure.
like a promotional email that you're not going to use. But yeah.
Yeah, but definitely all business related things. I just archive it, and then it's gone, but it's kind of still there.
Yep. I mean, as realtors, we got to keep records for 7 years. So, I mean, depending on what industry you're in, you might have some kind of similar rules. Your company might have some rules about how long you're supposed to keep materials and conversations. So, archive really comes in handy for that type of need.
Mhm.
All right, and unsubscribe. I don't even got to say anything for this. Scroll to the bottom, hit the unsubscribe button, right? I will say though, sometimes when there's a long email, like a newsletter or something, you'll see that pesky thing at the bottom that says view entire email or view entire message, because it's too long and you have to view it in a separate window to actually find that unsubscribe button. So if it's not there, but you can view entire message, do that, then you can see it. But all promotional emails are required to have an unsubscribe button. So if they don't, you can mark it as spam, but don't do that if you can actually view the entire message from coming from somebody who also sends out newsletters that are sometimes long and need that view entire message button.
Are you going to share your screen and show some stuff?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay, well, yeah, so we got to through Q&A, but we don't need to spend time on that. But so now I'm going to open up my kind of dummy, my forwarding inbox, and we're going to set up a few rules, snooze some things, all that good stuff.
Mhm.
So first off, I just want to point out a few things here. You can see that this inbox has 5,000 emails, but they're all marked as read. Why? Because this email automatically forwards into my main work inbox. So this is any emails that come to me personally. However, I manage a team inbox and all of this gets forwarded automatically into there. So if I come in here, this is what it looks like. It shows that I've read it because I did in my other inbox. However, we're going to use this one to set up a few filters and rules. So, let's see. Upcoming, oh, here, I know exactly what I'm going to do for an example for snooze. I signed up for a few continuing education classes that are on a later date, right? So of course I put them on my calendar. However, I do want to be reminded of them. So I'm just going to come down here and hit the snooze button. You can also do this from within the email, but if I'm in here and I'm like, I got to clean out these 50 emails, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to snooze it, and I could snooze it till next week. However, it's 4:13 is the class, which is Thursday. So I'm going to snooze this till tomorrow. It's going to remind me tomorrow. This one is on 4/24, so I can pick a date and time. So that's on Monday. I probably need to be reminded before then. So I'm going to have it remind me on Friday at 4 p.m. before I check out for the day. Simple as that. It's gone. It's out of my inbox. On those days that I set it to remind me, it'll show up back at the top of my inbox with a little, you snoozed this X days ago in yellow, which is really helpful because then I can tell, oh, this is coming back up. This is something that I chose to be reminded of. So,
That's great.
yeah, another thing similar that I want to do too. So that was snooze it, right? Now we're going to go to filter it. So Minnesota Realtors, upcoming continuing education classes. Well, I just signed up for a few, but if I needed some down the road, I would come back to this email and look if to find someone. So you can see that it comes from this email address. Most of the time, if I hit filter messages like these, it will automatically pull in this email address. However, when you're setting up a filter, I like to take something that is consistently in the email or the address, sometimes both, to use to make the filter. Because sometimes I might get emails from this, but and I might not want to filter everything from a certain address, but I might want to filter everything of a certain type from an address. This one, we're just going to do the basics. Filter messages like these. So from here, I could add, you can get really granular on the details, right? So this is where you could say doesn't have, does have, has the words. You would need to use a asterisk if you want to use a partial word or partial phrase here. And then I'm going to create filter. So what do I want to do with this? I want to skip the inbox. I want it to go on the side here. And you can see that bolded means I have something unread in here. Unbolded means I'm caught up on that label. So I'm going to make a new label, and you can do that automatically while you're creating a filter. And you're going to say industry news, for example, and then you can put whatever you want, right? So it's going to go into that folder, and then I can also apply it to matching conversation. So if there's anything else from this email address, it will filter that out too. That's the most basic filter that I recommend people set up. So you can see I had all these emails, so it's going to work through getting all those emails out of the way. Your filter was created. There we go. I was like, it didn't go away. Now it went away. It just needed a minute to start working.
Yeah.
Let's see. What else, Andy? Another form or filter that you would want to set up?
Click on the filter button again for that.
To make a filter button?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's under the little, right? It's under the
Oh
little.
yeah, I was just gonna look. I was just gonna pick a text on this one.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're gonna yeah, it has the words. Sure, go ahead and hit search. And it'll find any emails that oh, that's interesting. Okay. Oh, for some reason I thought that was the create a filter dialog.
No, that's yeah. So search just pulls it all up here.
Yeah.
And it'll pull up everything that fits those criteria. So it's a little counterintuitive. So you actually do want to make sure you hit the filter, create filter button. So
Create
let's go
filter,
through
yeah.
Because this is what Andy thought we wanted to do. That's
Create
not what we want to do.
right,
Create
yeah.
filter. So that's probably the most common mistake I see people when they think they set up a filter. They didn't, they hit search instead of create filter. So words to the wise, if it didn't work, that might have been what you did. Yeah, so sometimes it's like, don't do too much, like do a little bit less. So actually here, I'll do a little bit less so it likes me better.
Yeah. So one thing that I use labels for is uh, if I'm going on a trip, I set them up for the trip. So everything, the plane tickets, the hotel reservation, the whatever, and I use a nested folder for that too. I can show you my screen too,
Yeah,
maybe.
I can have you share it too.
Um, but yeah, that's mainly. I don't think I use the filter thing for anything other than that. Um, let's see, screen sharing. Oh, there you go. Yeah, um, so my filters, like I said, travel, any trips that I'm going on, I have, and I don't set up a filter for that. I just put a label on each email. So like a hotel reservation, plane tickets, whatever. I just put a label on it that says travel slash and then whatever the trip is. So you can make nested folders too. You could make one called, I don't have this, but I have one for school kids. I could make another folder under each of these for each of my kids too. Um, however you want to stack it to keep things organized. I know some real estate teams, they put a filter, they put a label on every transaction so that everything related to that transaction they can see under here, which is kind of cool. But I just wanted to give you a sense of how I use it. And then I make a lot of I make a lot of labels for different things just so that I can get everything to go into there. And some of these I don't have to look at very often or at all. Like the travel one, I just need to look at that when I'm going on my trip. But then it's not clogging up my inbox. And also when I'm looking for something, I'm not trying to find it in a whole bunch of other emails. For some reason, I find it very hard to search sometimes. You think you can find an email really easily, and then sure enough, as soon as you're looking for it, you'll find it's really hard to find it. So I just try to keep everything as organized as I can, and I try to clear everything out of here. The other thing I've learned to do is to, well, a couple things. I use another to-do list kind of system, and Nora does too. So some people use their inbox as a to-do list, and it's much better if you have an email that it is a to-do item. If you put it somewhere else, put it on some other list or something else that you look at, and get it out of here. That helps me a lot. If it's a calendar type thing, like things come in for my kids' school all the time, where it's like a band concert or something I need to show up to, um, I just put it on my calendar. And I'll also take the details of it. Like here's a field trip that I signed up for. So I just put this on my calendar and I copy and pasted the information about the field trip, like when it is, where it is, and all that kind of stuff. And I just stuck it on my calendar in the notes section of the calendar. So it's not sitting here like a to-do list in my inbox.
Have you ever tried, if you go into the email
Mm-hmm.
and then show your calendar, and if you hit add to calendar, depends on how it's formatted. A lot of times it will create it, the date and time. You don't have to manually create it,
Yeah.
is what I'm saying.
That's right. You can do that too. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So between the calendar and the to-do list, you can I've noticed that a lot of people use their email so that they don't forget things because it's still in their email. And they use their email as a to-do list so they don't forget things that they've got to do. But it'll just end up getting buried and piled up as more stuff comes in every day.
Right.
Any other thoughts, Nora?
No, I was just gonna say
Or-
Andy's
Pamela?
inbox is a perfect example of what you can get to, but like I'm kind of on what Andy was saying of I leave it in my inbox if it's to be done, right? So
Well,
I was just gonna,
you use a little different system. You actually do keep things in your inbox. But how do you do it then?
yeah, so here, let me share my screen.
Okay.
So this is my actual inbox now.
And mine usually has more stuff in it too. It's always got a few things in it. I just happened to clear everything out today.
Okay, so this is my inbox right now. Most of it's filtered out. But this is the 4 things that I have in here that I need to do. I need to pay a bill. I need to file a business receipt. I need to follow up on this thing that somebody looped me in on. And then I need to do something with this email. I need to like publish it or like turn it into some kind of post. So these are all the things that I need to do. Everything else is done or sent to the other people that need to do it, right? Or it's snoozed for later for when I actually have to take some action on it. So I would say inbox 0 is not always the place for me, but this is like, I only have 4 things in my email that I need to do, right? So it's like, I don't have to sit here like looking at my email, trying to find what I need to do. It's like, am I doing one of these, like when I get off this call, I'm going to do these 2 things because they take me 2 minutes or less, right? And then I only have 2 things to follow up on email. I can go out and do a bunch of other projects that I have on my mind, check my email at the end of the day, and boom, there we go.
Mhm. Yeah.
So questions,
Great.
comments? That was a pretty solid half an hour here. But if anyone has
Yeah.
any questions, I'd love to answer them.
No, I got some great tips. I try to sort of, I do a semi inbox 0, where, you know, I try to get in there once a week or so and clear things out. That's my personal email. My work email is inbox 0, but it's always easier. There's no emotions tied to my work email, so that's easier. If I could share a little life hack that has worked for me,
Yes.
I created a label called subscription, and that searches for the word unsubscribe in an email.
There you go.
So that's for things that I don't want to unsubscribe from, but I don't want to look at it all the time. And so then I just go in there periodically and kind of scan the subject line to see, oh, is there something going on that I'm interested in? And it really cut down on the junk in my inbox without having to do so many. I mean, you guys, there's a reason to do lots of filters, but for me, there wasn't. So I just did that one, and
That's a powerful one.
That's a great idea. That's a really good idea.
And I don't care if there's 1,000 unread emails in that folder. I do care if there's 1,000 unread in my inbox. So it shifted that really quickly, and not everything fits that, but then I can kind of tweak my filter or whatever. So anyway,
It's a great idea.
it works really well.
I love it. I might actually steal that one for my personal inbox too.
Yeah, you should. It lowers stress so much.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, we hope this was helpful. We just have encountered so many people, especially real estate agents in our world, who email seems to be a problem for them. So we thought we'd share a few of our secrets and hacks and whatever that makes things easier for us.
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing. I'm not a real estate agent, but I got a lot of good things, so I appreciate that.
Great.
Yeah. Well, most of us have worked some way or another, right? So
exactly.
We can make the work easier.
Yeah,
that's
for sure.
Okay. Oh, Pauline is asking, what did Pam create? She made a unsubscribe, a filter with that searches for the word unsubscribe, and they all go into a label. Yeah. Sorry, Andy, I interrupted. I think you were wrapping it up.
Anything else to add, Nora?
No, I don't think so. But if you have any questions or you think of a new tip or you make a great filter that you love, share it with us. And if we think of anything else cool, we'll share with you.
Wonderful.
Good. Thank you.
Say hi to Shareline for me.
I'll do that. Thanks for coming.
Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.